Welcome back to Parent Squad. And now that we are well into the new year, it is a great time to pause and think of what we're thankful for. And one aspect of that could be finding ways to give back. And of course, you want to get your kiddos involved too. So here to talk more about the benefits of generosity is Tami Silverman, the president and CEO of the Indiana Youth Institute. Thanks for being here. So this topic I absolutely love because I think it's just the key to happiness. And if you could start teaching your children that at a young age, I think it can take them far in life. Gratitude.
You are right. You are right. And we often think about it going into the holidays, but sometimes after the holidays, you think that gratitude and giving back is over.
Yes.
Right? And so it's really important this time of year to think about this is something, a skill we need to build with kids year round. And how do we do that?
Yeah, and sometimes January feels kind of like a slump because you had all these holidays that really got you through the end of the year. And then it's like, well, what now until Valentine's Day?
Right.
What now? So let's talk about the benefits for giving back.
The benefits, and again, these are benefits our children reap when they give back to others. So it's that idea, it really is better to give than it is to receive. So we know that kids that volunteer and give back in their community indicate that they have better overall health. They have better, they report that they're flourishing, which is an indication of their well-being. And they say they have less anxiety and depression. And so it's a wonderful win-win. They contribute to the community, but they also reap those benefits. So it's up to us as adults to figure out how do we help them do that? What's the right way? And how do we even start with really fairly young children? This isn't something that is reserved just for high schoolers or when kids get older. You really can start and teach that giving back practice from a very young age.
Yes, obviously me having younger kids, I'm already thinking about how can we like maybe get rid of some of the toys, but turn it into an exercise, like you said, as being intentional as parents. Like, let's give this to other kids who are in need of toys. And
Perfect.
Wouldn't you want to share? And of course your kid, well, maybe they'll say yes. And so we know it's good for their physical health as well as mental health.
It is. And I think you're absolutely right. For younger kids, you want to stage it in there. And so maybe coming out of the holidays, maybe they've gotten quite a few toys. So you talk about, you enjoy your new toys. Maybe, I know some families do a one toy in, one toy out, right?
Yeah.
And so let's clear out some of these other things. It's really important for us as a parents, we could do that very efficiently. You could go through and clean out Teddy's toys, right? Like you could do that.
Right. Easily.
But there's a value in having the kids help do it so that they understand where it's going and what the intentionality is. And then even taking them with you. If you're going to drop it off at Goodwill, if you're going to drop it off at a local service center in your area, take the extra step, as parents, like take the extra time to bring them with you and talk about why we're doing this and why it's important to give back.
Yeah, and there's so many lessons just involved in that process because it's also the act of decluttering, the act of letting go, the act of clearing out. It's like a lot of different lessons that are just within that one exercise, which is awesome as we, of course, lean into being intentional as parents. So maybe a good elementary school activity there. I'm thinking of my almost 2-year-old. He has now learned mine. He's saying mine. I'm like, oh, who taught you that? Okay, what about the middle school age?
The middle school, they can start to tell you what they're interested in. Maybe they're interested in giving back to other kids. Maybe they're interested in animals, or maybe, the climate, or whatever those things are. So you want to give them a little more choice in how they're showing up and what they're giving back to you. So you start to talk about, and then they can really lean in, and maybe they can organize a food drive amongst their colleagues or their friends. Maybe they're part of an organization, a youth serving organization, such as Scouts, that do that, and really amplify for them. It's not just a task, but what that meaning is. So the middle schoolers take a little more ownership of the activities, and they're starting to define what's important to them. And we need to encourage that, even if it's different than what the parents might want, or what are those ways that parents prefer to give back. We want to give kids a little, their own standing and their own voice.
Yes, because the ownership is what's so important there, and getting your kids to use their brain.
Absolutely.
All right, high school age kids, we need them to use their brain too.
They need to use their brains, and this is where you can really hand it over and you become the support to them. They can take the leading role. They can organize it. They can create the signs. They can, get their friends to sign up. This is where they really start to take the lead, because you want them to have that practice that they'll lead throughout their life. So they're going to generate the idea, the plan, the execution. That doesn't mean that they don't still need support from their parents.
A soft assist.
A soft assist and a lot of cheerleading, I would say, as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. And then parents, how can we as parents encourage the spirit of giving back in kids?
First, one of the things that we talk about is we have to walk the walk, right? So this isn't a task just for kids. They need to see you volunteering or giving back or having that practice where you're dropping things off of clothes. It's not just their toys that need to go out the door that you've sorted. It's your own thing, and having that conversation. So we need to walk the walk. And then we need to make time to support them as they are learning to give back. So both of those things I think are really crucial. We know that that's part of kids. You know, kids hear our words, but they also watch us pretty darn closely. So we want to make sure that we're showing up and modeling for them what good community engagement and what giving back really looks like.
Community engagement, that's what you're teaching your children. And I love what you're saying, basically lead from the front, lead by example. What if, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are watching this and they just don't quite know where to start. You know, your heart's in the right place, but how do I take that first step forward? Do you have any tips of where they should start?
Of course. There are a couple of easy ones that we know are in most communities. First of all, your local United Way, and hop on the website or pick up a phone and ask them. They have a sense of a tremendous number of organizations. Think about what's important to you and your family. Reach out and say, here's what we think we'd like to do. Can you help make that match? We know that community foundations are another way to do that. And again, reach out and say, this is what we think we might want to do. How could this work? Many organizations do have opportunities where families can volunteer together. Again, often that's age sensitive. So I would say it probably takes no more than 15 minutes to figure out how this might work in your family. Try out a couple things, and if the first one doesn't work, don't give up, because you will find some way. Again, there are organizations that need and welcome this type of involvement.
Organizations that are waiting for you. They're waiting for you to get involved. Tami, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Always a good reminder for parents. All of this is so intentional, and that's how you have to be with your parenting. If you want to find more info on the Indiana Youth Institute, just head to WTHR.com/ParentSquad. Still to come, keeping the cold and flu at bay. We want to keep it away. So the City Moms are here with us to help give us some simple ways to try and keep those germs away. We'll be right back.